YouTube was in with this boys out back with another banger video. Bob Arum says, I can't relate to black fighters the way I used to. Let's get it.
So Bob Arum, he did an interview with Cigar Talk where he touched on a whole lot of different topics, including race. He was asked specifically about the fallout that he had with Terrence Crawford.
Tell me, now we're in a space that, I've seen another thing that we see people say on social media was just, your relationship with black fighters or promoting a black fighter, right? Like I see people talk about that. We saw Terrence Crawford and you had whatever dispute y'all had. In terms of promoting black fighters today, how how much different is it than, yesteryear, right? Because we're talking Ali, we're talking Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler,
Foreman,
you've done everybody. But promoting black fighters then versus promoting them now, how different is it?
No.
First of all, let me just say this. You cannot compare Bob Arum promoting Muhammad Ali to Bob Arum promoting fighters today. Because back then, there was no racial dynamic. Muhammad Ali, he was fighting against other black fighters. So of course Bob Arum had a great relationship with black fighters. Muhammad Ali, he was the biggest star in the division, and he was fighting against other black fighters. Now, if you have fighters like Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk in Muhammad Ali's weight class, that would be a complete different scenario.
It is a cultural thing, and it's not a question of black and white. It's a question of age. When I was younger, and I was more attuned because people were more my age, whether they were black or white or Hispanic, I could relate better to them. See, now it's very hard for me to come to grips as to what thinking is in the black community. Not because it's black or white, it's because I'm 92 and they're in their 20s.
Right. There's a whole different.
Well, listen, Bob, you said you don't understand the black community because the guys are young and you're 90. I'm more than sure there are 92-year-old black men your age who you can have conversations with, bro. I think that's just willful negligence, if you ask me. Let's get it.
Whole different mindset.
Right.
Okay, so Bob Arum just said that he can't relate to black people at age 92 the same way he was able to relate to them back then. I mean, Bob Arum, he has a great relationship with Naoya Inoue, with Tyson Fury, with Sil Lomachenko. He had a great relationship with Manny Pacquiao, despite his age.
So it's not race, it's age related. That's why I try to bring into my company the top rank younger and younger people, because otherwise we'd be really lost.
Everybody got it.
What Bob is basically saying is, I'm old. I don't know what I'm talking about. You can't take anything I say serious. Which is exactly what some fans said to defend Bob Arum when he came out and he said these things about Terrence Crawford when he walked off the stage in the middle of the Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez press conference and decided not to promote the fight. Bob, once again, he's saying he's old and he doesn't know any better. However, Bob, he did say that he's brought new people into the company, and this is truly the best thing to come out of the Crawford lawsuit and the incident where Bob Arum, he walked off of the stage at the Shakur Stevenson press conference. Since then, we haven't heard Arum say not one negative thing about a black boxer that he promotes. In fact, it seems like there's been an influx of black fighters that Top Rank has been promoting and even signing since he had that fallout with Terrence Crawford. So while Bob would say it's kind of hard to relate to the black fighters, his black fighters, I would say it's quite the contrary. It's a little bit better than it has been before. And honestly, Bob, he doesn't have to have too much of a close relationship to the fighters. All he has to do is show up at the press conference, promote his fights, and make sure his fighters get paid. And make sure you're matching up the fighters well. Make sure you're giving your fighters the opponents that they want in that stable. And if you just do that with every fighter, then your relationship with your fighter should be good. Bob had actually said on many different occasions during interviews that he actually protected Manny Pacquiao from Terrence Crawford because he didn't want to see Manny Pacquiao lose. His exact words was he didn't want to see Manny Pacquiao get hurt because he believed that Terrence Crawford would have truly hurt Manny Pacquiao. Remember,
I believe that as well. Terrence Crawford, um, too skilled, too strong, too explosive, too smart. Manny Pacquiao. We see Manny Pacquiao knocked unconscious, separated from his conscience. That's never happened to Bud.
this was the same Manny Pacquiao that beat Keith Thurman and Broner. And let's not forget Tim Bradley. So while Manny Pacquiao obviously never lost to Terrence Crawford, he did end up losing to a very unknown, heavy underdog, Jeff Horn. Now, if you just think of things from a promoter's perspective, Bob Arum could have made way more money. Not just way more money. He would have made an enormous amount of money if he would have made Manny Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford. And instead of Jeff Horn beating Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford, he beats Manny Pacquiao. Now Terrence Crawford, he becomes a much, much bigger draw, a bigger star, and guess who's promoting him? Bob Arum. So Bob Arum, he makes an in-house fight where basically Manny Pacquiao, he passes the torch to Bob Arum's young, new, hungry lion, Terrence Crawford, which not only would have made him a bigger star, but it would have also gave him leverage going into other big fights, like fights against Errol Spence. You guys have to remember, it was Floyd Mayweather's win over Oscar De La Hoya that made him the face of boxing. Not saying that Terrence Crawford would have become the face of boxing, but he would have definitely been a bigger, much, much bigger star if he would have ended up beating Manny Pacquiao. And we all know when it comes to Terrence Crawford, he would have ended up stopping Manny Pacquiao. So Terrence Crawford was suing Bob Arum because he believed that Bob did not have his best interest in promoting him. And while Cigar Talk, he did a good job of asking real questions, he failed to elaborate to explain to fans why Terrence Crawford was suing Bob Arum, and he never challenged Bob on anything that he said, especially when it came to this topic. You guys have to understand, in any other sport, especially when it comes to the NBA or the NFL, reporters are going to ask you the toughest questions. They're going to challenge every single thing that you say in a professional manner. I mean, there's a couple times when Terrence Crawford had the most watched fight of the entire year. I'm not just talking about on ESPN. I'm talking about on all platforms, boxing and MMA. And part of Bob being sued by Terrence Crawford was from Bob saying how much money he lost trying to promote Terrence Crawford. And then when Terrence Crawford, when he leaves Bob Arum, he leaves Top Rank, this is when Bob is saying he still wants to make the Crawford versus Errol Spence fight, make the fight for Terrence Crawford. Crawford said it was too late. He said you had all that time to make the fight and you couldn't deliver. I wrap this video up by saying this. If Bob Arum truly does believe he can't relate to the black fighters, all he has to do is start treating them like he treats the non-black fighters. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Yeah, man, Bob with all that. I can't relate to the black fighter. Yeah. In America, back in the 40s and the 30s, we ain't have to relate to these black fighters. Nah, I'm just playing, man. Nah, but saying he can't relate to the black fighters because they're young, but you can relate to all the other young guys. It has nothing to do with race. It just has something to do with you willfully not wanting to relate. You can relate to Inoue, and he's younger than Crawford. You can relate to all these other guys, Tyson Furies, and all these other guys. But it is what it is, man. You're not thinking too deep into it, man. If somebody don't want to relate to you, you can't force them to. You know, relate to the people who want to relate to you. You know, go where you appreciate it, not where you tolerate it. And with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Like, comment, subscribe, share this. We want to roll to 2K. We're going to get the cut of Mafia too strong, man. Layouts in the